You know, Dr. Dibinga, I did a search when I put in the word slave earlier today, and it popped up, did slaves learn a lot or have a hard time while they were slaves? Because these are the discussions that are happening across the country, whether or not slavery was good or bad. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are about the fact that you really can't get around teaching history altogether with keeping major parts of it out in telling the story. How do you think teachers can get around it, or can that even actually happen?
Well, first of all, somebody who does work in schools across the country, charter, public, and private schools, and have been doing this for over 20 years, I'm very adamant about the fact that teaching accuracy is not activism. I had a situation where a white teacher told me she was doing a project on African civilizations. This was in Maryland, and the kids were all in a majority white school. The kids were all involved and active about the project. But when they submitted the final pictures that they did of the African kings, they were all white. And the teacher was shocked, and she asked, why did they do this? And so it's because the students said they didn't want to get in trouble by being viewed as being racist. So this idea that whiteness is the center is causing a true distortion of history that is throwing everybody off. And one of the things I talk about in my students at American University, they get so angry when they find out the truth, when they find out the real things that have happened that they were never taught in school. I was showing pictures of postcards of the lynchings that were happening back in the days. And one student started getting really upset in school because she was like, wait a minute, that's my street. Like, that's the block I grew up on, and she never knew that history. So every single day, and when we deny these students their history, when they find out the truth, they get really upset. Axios did a study that said majority of white Republican students want to know the true history. But one of the things I talk about in my book, Lies About Black People, I have some poetry in there, and some of the lines that I have in there when I'm talking about us, I'm like, yo, where were your laws when I was learning about me? When my history books taught that I only came from slavery. When my mathematics classes left out Black contributions. When my science classes left out our contributions to evolution. When our history classes talk about America's hopes and intentions, but didn't lift my hopes by teaching me about Black inventions. You don't think that I felt guilty like 3/5 of a man when y'all taught me that I was only civilized when y'all brought me to this land? So really, at the end of the day, we're doing all of this stuff to protect white kids, but white kids can handle the truth. But those who are not white, those who are particularly Black and brown, we've always been taught negative history about our culture and society, but nobody gave a damn about us. And so the fact of the matter is, we got to speak up. And lastly, in Florida, you also see that they got rid of AP psychology because of its LGBTQ issues that they had.
Yes,
So white parents out there who aren't speaking up right now, your whole school system, your college aspirations for your children are being jeopardized when you're not speaking up for us now. It's just a matter of time before they come for the other courses that your kids are interested in. So you might as well join us now, because it's just a matter of time before your whole college aspirations for your kids get messed up and there are no AP classes that teach about anything.
Dr. Dibinga, I wanted to stay with you for a moment because I am sure that as a teacher, you hear from other teachers. What's the sense around how they're feeling about these limitations and the 44 states that have passed legislation about AP? And is there any fear or sense of fear in them? Because there have been teachers that have lost their jobs for showing a movie, for example, that was on a list of approved movies. What is your gathering of information in terms of how teachers are feeling these days where you are?
There's absolutely fear and anger. I was in Florida recently working with teachers and librarians, and there's places I'm speaking, they're crying, they're angry. And, of course, they're angry and concerned about job loss and the like, but they're also literally concerned about their students and what they can't share with them. And it's not just these red states. In Maryland, I had a teacher say that now that parents feel so emboldened, a teacher literally came up to him and said, can you not teach about the bad guys like Malcolm X? Teach about the good guys like Dr. King. And felt emboldened to say those things. And these are in schools where teachers were teaching the history regularly with no problems. So all of a sudden, they don't feel like they're being supported. In my book, I have a whole chapter on critical race theory. As Dr. Malvo said, it's not being taught in schools. But one of the things that teachers are always saying, if we're teaching kids to stand up to bullies, we got to stand up to the bullies too. And that's why more teachers are speaking out and protesting, and they need our support.
Renita,